meet you. I mean, you can't gavel when there's only 3 of us in here.
Yeah, we want to get church started. We got Sam.
Oh, he's got
Trying to
Sam,
get
okay.
attention.
Somewhere. Yes. I don't know what to do.
We're going, we're going.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, but I'm going to just put some earphones. Putting some earphones with some music.
That's right.
It says all muted now.
How are you?
All right, you ready? Is it on? On.
Ready.
Okay, I'd like to call since Mike is here and I didn't want to,
I appreciate it.
Well, it's Art who you were really waiting on.
well, I didn't want to say that to give out the big head. The administrative conference, will you pray? Pledge, okay. Administrative conference for Friday, May the 23rd, 2014.
Really, please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today on such a fine day. Help us to keep our thoughts in the right direction and remember the reason for our Memorial Day holiday and those who have served. Help us to make good decisions today, have good discussion, and lead our city in the right direction. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Madam Clerk.
Dedication from yesterday.
Saying recognition
Present.
yesterday's ceremony.
Here.
Mr. Webb, Mr. Shine,
Present.
Sam Jacob.
Okay, tomorrow I will entertain a motion. I'm sorry, you're
He'll be here
exactly
by
right
himself
too.
tomorrow, but he'll still entertain it.
Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Sam, you see your brother coming down on me.
Already. Just getting started.
Okay. Motion to approve the minutes of the administrative conference on today and, on Monday, May the 12th, and city council meeting Tuesday, May the 13th. Mr. Mayor, before I get to you, I want to take executive privilege. Since the mayor won't ever leave out of the state, so I can do what, I know what he think I'm going to do what Joyce did when he was out that time. I started to remind him of that on yesterday. But Sam didn't want me to say it. but Dale, I wouldn't do what George. I wouldn't fire anybody. Okay. I'd like to call a young man and his mother up right now. And I found out that he's one of Shreveport's finest. One of the state's finest. Clay, we're going to let you tell the council here and the mayor what you've been doing and where you are, and to let you know, to let all of us know that he's spreading good words about Shreveport.
Well, thank you, Councilman Shine, Chairman Shine, I should say. Good afternoon, Mayor Glover and members of the council. Yes, I lived in Shreveport for 18 years. I was born and raised here. I went through the public school system here, and I left, went to Connecticut, New York, and now I'm on faculty at the business school at UC Berkeley in California. So in 2001, I was president of the Greater Shreveport Human Relations Commission Youth Council, and in that capacity was a member of the Greater Shreveport Human Relations Commission. So I'm here today with my mother, who's going to be speaking a little bit on behalf of revitalizing that commission, but on a volunteer basis. But I did want to add that I was so proud of you all and so proud of this city for passing the fairness ordinance. So since I left Shreveport, oftentimes elsewhere in this country, you unfortunately meet people who have a misconception of what it's like living in the Deep South and don't always appreciate just how wonderful a city like Shreveport is to grow up in and to be a part of. And so in my office in Berkeley, we all watched all of you live debating and ultimately passing that ordinance. and I felt very proud that so many people got to see that some of the stereotypes, most of the stereotypes are definitely not true of a place like Shreveport, and I thought it really just was a great PR message for just how great this city is in this country. So thank you all.
Clay, anybody want to ask any questions to Clay?
Well, now I know your mother is a great asset to the city, by the way. She has been a tremendous help to us in drafting this legislation. But also she's a very good on social media at bragging on you. So I know you've done some
I apologize for that.
Some work to be proud of. Do you want to share some of the? I know that if I recall right, you've been quoted on CNN and a number of other national news networks.
Yeah, so I do research that relates to psychology and public policies. So I wrote a piece for Forbes that was online this week about how we have perceptions of racial progress in this country. In the last month's issue of The Atlantic, some of my research on policies in the workplace that allow people not to have to conceal their sexual orientation, how that's good for workplace productivity. So yeah, so I do a lot of academic work, but I try to take that to the public sphere as well through different outlets, as you say.
Very cool.
Clay, we are extremely proud of you.
Well, thank you.
And I was going to ask the mayor if he had one of those T-shirts left.
Which T-shirts would that be, Mr. John?
I'm from Shreveport.
I already have that shirt. I wear that proudly to the gym.
All right. All right. And Clay, thank you so much. And I'm going to ask your mother to come up now, and we're going to move you up on the agenda. And I hope y'all don't get angry with me.
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that. I'm Adrienne Critcher, 817 Ontario Street, Shreveport, 71106. So good afternoon, Mayor Glover and Chairman Shine and members of the City Council. I'm here today because on the agenda for this upcoming City Council meeting is an ordinance to bring back in a different form the Human Relations Commission. It's going to be an all-volunteer board. The Shreveport Fairness Ordinance, the name that we call it, that you passed back in December, specified that a Greater Shreveport Human Relations Commission would serve as the enforcement mechanism for the Fairness Ordinance. And so the ordinance that's on the agenda now will simply create that commission. We'll call it the HRC for short. This ordinance is the result of input from various different sources. Different people advised about how the ordinance should read and what the commission should look like. National and state attorneys who have extensive experience with volunteer human relations commissions. They made recommendations based on existing Shreveport ordinances. Our own City Council staff had very valuable input. The Centenary College Diversity Committee was very helpful. They have worked with other community groups, most recently in sponsoring some public forums, the most recent one being a very excellent series on race. And then we had got documents and had conversations with Larry Bagneris of the New Orleans Human Relations Commission. They've been in existence for 25 years, so they have a lot of experience. The details of the ordinance are very straightforward, as you've read. I think it can be a very positive force in our community. Mr. Bagneris said that the New Orleans HRC receives only 1 or 2 complaints a month. And while we may receive more initially, just getting started, he expects us to have fewer than that once we're firmly established. It turns out the vast majority of those complaints come from the African American community, with very few actually from the LGBT community. Even though African Americans have state and federal laws that protect them from discrimination, filing a grievance through an HRC can be much less intimidating and more easily resolved, especially since in New Orleans 99% of the grievances filed are handled through mediation without any fines. So those of us who have long advocated for a fairness ordinance have strongly believed that its primary purpose is preventative rather than punitive. We think that through education and mediation we can bring our community together. The mere existence of a fairness ordinance and an HRC is simply a powerful signifier that our city does not discriminate, and most businesses, organizations, and individuals, once they're aware and have a little bit of education sometimes, they comply. So we think this is going to be a very positive way to bring people together, to do some education, and to unify the different diverse aspects of our city. So I'll be happy to answer any questions if you'd like, but the ordinance itself is pretty straightforward.
Annette, you and I have exchanged a couple emails on
Yeah.
this, but after some research, I was difficult to find out kind of the makeup of their board in New Orleans. Like, what kind of professional criteria? Is there a
Right.
certified mediator on their board?
You
or-
know, they have an executive director who is paid, and we will not have that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that he's a certified mediator. I could talk to him and find out, but I don't know that but he acted like, he'll initially take some complaints, and we would have some people on our board that would do that, initially take complaints, and he will sit down and just talk to the party. Sometimes he talks to them multiple times, and you go back and forth. And he said most of the time, and I thought it was very interesting, he said most of the time people who bring a grievance to them, they just want a sincere apology. That's really what they want. And of course, as part of our fairness ordinance, the most we can do, the most serious thing we can do is issue a $500 fine for the first offense, $1,000 for subsequent offenses. But he said, and they have similar kinds of penalties, but he said that generally people just want an apology. Now, if somebody has a case that they want to take to court, if somebody who's covered by state or federal laws wants to take a case to court, and we will let them know that that's an option. We would tell them, you're covered under state or federal law. If you would prefer to go through the court, you can do that. So we will steer them in that direction and give them that information. But he acted like that it's really a very positive, he said it's just a very positive experience, that when you sit down and talk to people, oftentimes people will do something that's discriminatory, not out of malice, but simply out of a lack of sensitivity sometimes. And when you sit down and talk to them and explain things, he said that things are usually very easily resolvable. And so good things have come out of that.
Did you happen to see the story last night, and I don't remember which one of the news outlets, about a woman who felt she was discriminated about because she had a disability? Did anybody see that? You did. At any rate, she had a prosthesis, and she went in for, this is a story, so I don't want to suggest that I'm taking sides or I know anything more than what I saw in the news last night. She had a prosthesis, and she felt she was discriminated against when she went in to get a pedicure.
Okay.
In summary, isn't that kind of, without getting, so in that scenario, obviously she's covered under some ADA stuff and a lot of other different, but even something like that, because it's a private business owner and she is a patron or attempting to be a patron, in that case, this could even be an outlet for her. In
Yes,
this case,
exactly.
as
Right.
a first step before escalating the process.
Yes.
Okay.
So we feel like it's a way to diffuse a lot of situations, and where people at times, there are a lot of times where maybe somebody's not going to take something to court, but they stew about it and they fret over it and they're unhappy and things are in the media and they can get sometimes blown out of proportion. And we feel like this would be a mechanism to sit down and talk, give people an outlet. Give people a chance to tell their story and have somebody listen and sit down with the parties and try to bring them together. But we will have training. A policies and procedures manual will be developed, and for people who are going to be on the commission, there will be some training for that. I attended a conference myself, just at my own expense recently in January in Houston. A national lesbian, gay, transgender, bisexual task force met there, a very large conference, and I made some contacts with some people there who said they would be happy to provide us with materials and information. And so a lot of people really want to reach out and help places like us who are just trying to do good things for our citizens and bring people together.
Good stuff. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes.
Clay, you see how your mom has been bragging on you? We're going to brag on your mom. We need people like your mom, not only here in Shreveport, but all around the world. It's people like your mom that makes life a better place to live and to work and to enjoy. And, you hear a lot of people hold up the cross and they're Christians and all, and But this is what Christianity is all about.
Well,
The kind of work
thank
that your
you.
mom does, about helping people. And your life is so much fuller. You know, you don't want to lay down and you don't want to get on your sick bed and you start thinking, now who did I help along the way? But when you lay down and you start thinking about the people that you have helped along the way, it makes you feel so much better. Makes you feel so much better.
Well,
So,
thank you.
We are just fortunate to have somebody like you in Shreveport.
Oh.
Now, don't you ever think about moving to the West Coast?
I can't afford to move out
All
there.
right, don't let Clay talk you into moving out there. You stay right here. You are a diamond.
Well, thank you.
Right here.
Well, thank
So,
you.
Clay, don't you try to talk your mom into moving out on the West Coast here.
Well, I appreciate that.
You
And I
leave her here.
have bragged on our city council. I am so proud to be from Shreveport. We've gotten such good publicity, and I brag on our city council all the time. Sometimes when you hear things from other cities, I said, well, you don't know what our city council is like. We have people here who have a real heart for our city and who want what's best for our city. So I'm very proud to be from Shreveport.
We appreciate it. I think
Thanks.
Jeff wanna
If I-
have tea or coffee with you one morning. So
If I
Jeff,
could
go.
just add briefly,
Please.
I'd like to say, not only, I think Councilman Shine gave a great tribute to what a good advocate you are.
Thank you.
But I want to thank you over and above that for being thorough. There are a lot of people who advocate for causes or for great ideas, but they don't necessarily put the effort that you and some of the other volunteers have put into
thank
bringing
you.
us factual information and policy information
Well,
about
thank
what
you.
works and doesn't work. And that really is the key to coming up with a good solution,
Well,
as
thank you. I
opposed to
appreciate
just
it.
something that might look good on paper, but this is something that I think is really going to have the impact that we
Well,
hope
thank
for,
you.
and it's because of that extra legwork and homework
Well,
that y'all
thanks.
do.
So we're determined to make it work and make it work for the good of the city.
thank
So
you.
thank you. And I'll be back Tuesday. If you have any questions, I'll be back then.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're probably going to leave now.
All right.
so.
And Clay, we're proud of you. Yes.
Just to make some comments before they leave, I want to express to both of them. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Clay is a magnet graduate. So always good to see Mustangs.
Look out now. Look out.
And
Look
representing
out.
well.
He's a good old Shreveport boy.
Absolutely. And but I also want to state just how much appreciation in similar fashion to what Councilman Everson and Mr. Chairman, you and others have expressed, how much appreciation I have for Adrian, her husband, and all of the folks that they have enlisted over the years to help elevate and advance the city of Shreveport. I can remember very vividly, I think it was a Sunday in August of 2006 when they held the first mayoral forum. And not all of us attended. Not all.
That's exactly right.
Not all 17 mayoral candidates.
We had a
showed up,
lot of candidates that year.
but a good number did.
Yes, that's
and,
right.
And we engaged in some very frank, constructive
It
dialogue
was
on
really
that day.
a great forum, and we'll be having another one in August of this year. It will be our third mayoral forum. We say you can't be elected mayor of Shreveport without attending the PACE mayoral forum.
All right.
Well, and I just want to say that Shreveport, 8 years later, is a different place,
That's exactly right. it is.
and it's a better place.
And we thank you very
And
much.
so
of that.
I thank you. There were some who didn't show up for that first one.
That's right.
There were some who didn't show up for the second one.
That's right, and they didn't get elected.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'll say this, the folks who showed up, 100%. And so look forward to this
Thank you.
year's. And I think the work that you all have engaged in the interim has helped to push this city forward. And we want to encourage you to continue. And thank you very much. And also, I guess they say past is prologue, I guess. I can't remember exact how expressing that, but I'm glad to see you come forward again with the concept of a Human Relations Commission. I was on the city council with Councilman Joe Shine under the Hazel Beard administration.
That's right.
When we had the first manifestation of a Human Relations Commission here in the city of Shreveport, that particular effort came in the aftermath of the 2 Duke elections,
Yes.
if you can recall.
Oh, I remember.
And there were great concerns that there were some in this community who did not manage to exercise the kind of leadership that many people thought that they should, given those circumstances.
And we lost some good people from the city because of that. There were
Yes, we
people
did.
I
That's
know
right.
who moved.
Yes, we
Yeah.
did. And so, again, all of this are things that have helped to make Shreveport a better place. And so thank you again for being a part of that conscience.
Well, thank
of
you,
this
Mayor
city,
Glover. I
and
appreciate
helping
those
us make a
kind
better place
words.
to go home and to make it the kind of place that eventually, there may be a set of circumstances where folks like Clay,
That's right.
who dusted the clay of this city off their feet
That's right.
long ago to go to places that they thought and actually in many ways were better, more accommodating, more progressive.
That's right.
That it may end up actually being the kind of place that can bring them back home. So
That's what we're hoping. That's what
we
we're
want to
hoping.
keep them and we want to bring them back.
Well, we appreciate, Mayor Glover, what you've done
Thank you.
to make this city like that, and the city council too. So we've had some great leadership in that direction, I believe.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
Good day.
Thank you, Mr.
Dale,
Chairman.
remember that when you get ready to run for mayor, remember you gotta go, because look like
To the pace,
look like everybody, their brother and their sister is running, so you get ready to do that, Dale. Okay, Mr. Mayor, we back in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the interest of it being a Friday afternoon, and I'm sure all folks who have other things to do other than sit here with us, and it being the beginning of a 3-day weekend, I will just simply say happy. I'm sorry?
3-day weekend. I had no idea.
Well, now, well, for some. But want to just simply say happy Memorial Day to all of those out there who have served, all of those who made the ultimate sacrifice. The old saying, all gave some and some gave all. We want to let them know just how much we definitely appreciate. I know we have some actual folks here with us in the chambers who are servants who did serve, like CAO Sibley and the Lieutenant Colonel Jenkins, and I think Arthur carried around a law book or two for a minute in the military for a while. I'm not sure.
He didn't do nothing but sit in an office.
Well, now he
He
got.
just sit in
I
an
don't know if
office.
that's, I'm not sure that's true. I believe his MOS
I don't even know.
it isn't legal, is it?
Well,
I don't even know whether he
my
went through
first
basic
commission was
training.
infantry, but I quickly went to jail.
I was gonna say, I knew you had another commission. I mean, I knew you had an original MOS. So it was
He
not-
had the best MOS.
Well, now he got a Purple Heart, I'm told, but it was from a shoulder strain from picking up that heavy case of law books
Yeah.
as they were shifting around the legal library. But to all of those who have served, we express our thanks, and also today is the wrap up of the 2-week pop up down in the Red River District. If you have not had a chance in the past 2 weeks to go down and enjoy the dozen plus operations that are there, I want to encourage you to go and do so today. I think they close and wrap up today around 8 or 9, but it has been absolutely exhilarating to see all of the activity going back and forth. I want to express specific thanks to the folks with the Shreveport Committee of 100 who have joined in with the Downtown Development Authority to specifically work to identify one of those operators and to provide to them a full year's lease so that pop-up can go from popping up to staying up. And for those who will have missed and won't get a chance to enjoy before the day is up, know that there are 2 more coming before the end of the year. There will be one this fall and one that will come just on the cusp of the holiday season. So go down to the district and have a chance to enjoy yourself a great meal, buy some artwork, and sample something that I hadn't had in a very long time, and that's goat cheese. So enjoy and have a great time.
They do a good goat cheese over there.
Pretty good goat cheese, yes it is.
I do want to let Oliver and Art and Dale know that I might not have been on active duty, but I was in the ROTC, so I did mine.
Well, Sam over here, he gets some credit.
You're right.
He spent
That's right, Sam, you
Officer's candidacy.
All right.
United States Marine Corps, 1970.
all right, so now, I did.
Almost a jar.
The whole family in those days would go in, and some stayed and some left.
Yes, indeed, okay. City council members, any city council member would like to?
Just another quick note.
Oh, don't forget about B.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's what, yeah, B.
Active duty.
I should have known that one. That's my
All right, B.
my bust. That's
I
a terrible-
salute you.
Thank you.
All
I didn't know
right.
that either.
Okay, come on.
Just was going to make a quick mention, and I know the administration did release a press release about it, but I don't know if Barbara wanted to kind of fill us in on the consent decree finalization, or?
Come on up, Barbara.
I was going, let me say this, Barbara, I want you to do it now, but I was going to ask you to kind of do a quick thing of the Tuesday when the TV cameras are running, because we need to let our citizens know. I know we got somebody in here from the Shreveport Times, and they do an excellent job in writing, but if you could just maybe a Tuesday, just, not a long
Yeah,
drawn
no,
out.
I can do something very quickly on Tuesday.
Right.
Again, the consent decree was entered into the system by the judge on May 13th. We have now kind of started the clock ticking. We're able to put that schedule together with, now that we actually have a start date, we have a number of very short time frames as far as some notifications, getting copies of the consent decree out, paying the fines, of course, within 30 days, and then a lot of the deadlines start 12 months from now. Some of that work is already underway and will be completed somewhat ahead of schedule, which we're very excited about because that gives us a little wiggle room to make sure that we stay on target, because we all know that things happen and things change, particularly when you're out there working on pipes under the ground. So we're looking forward to continuing to stay ahead of schedule and hopefully start that second phase of investigatory work sometime later this summer when the weather is good. So we're very excited. We have a number of things working internally as well as on the outside with the field work, with our own staff, gearing up for the things that we're going to have to do from an operation standpoint and a maintenance standpoint.
Thank you. We'll look for you Tuesday to give
Yes, sir.
another short version of this.
Barbara, you mentioned the May 13th date. What was that, and why did you reference the May 13th date?
May 13th is when the judge signed and entered the consent decree officially into the court, and so that starts our actual schedule, the 12-year schedule, so that's the first date, the date of entry. So everything hinges on that date.
Okay.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right, thank you.
All right. Ms. Farnell? Oh, that's right.
Mr. Green.
Mr. Green. I think Mr. Green was smart. He got here early, and I think everybody's just about it. All except Oliver. I think he had a piece of cake and some coffee out in the foyer, so it was,
I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Oliver.
We are stuck.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He's the one
Slick
time
with
I was
it.
here earlier now.
There you go. There you go.
I did have one more to come in
Okay.
after our conversation. I just wrote it up for you.
Okay.
For convenience sake. Just came in, they called me just a short while ago, okay? Thank you.
Well, Mr. Green, I think that's it for you.
We'll see him at the end, I guess.
Well, yeah. Ms. Sanders. Huh? I know, I just wanted to give her an opportunity if she had something today that she wanted to say. All right. Tell her she had an opportunity today and come back Tuesday. Okay, Mr. Thompson, I believe we have a public hearing. Is that the big,
On Tuesday.
okay, we got, right, that's what I'm saying. We got a public hearing for Tuesday. Okay, and we will be adding legislation to the agenda.
We have one that we know about at this time, well, two. One is a resolution selecting the Times as the official journal for the city. It's something we're required by state law to do every year, and they publish our minutes. Also, when we get to resolution number 95, I believe the city attorney has informed me that that one should be removed, and she'll be adding a new one on the same subject. That had a few errors in it, and so we will have another resolution concerning the loan to Cornerstone Assistance Foundation.
Resolution, what number?
95.
Mr. Thompson, would it be all right if we would let her come up and we'll remove that at this point?
Sean, we normally do it at the regular meeting, if that's okay with you.
That's fine with me, if it's fine with the city attorney. And I know if
It's fine.
that would be fine.
It's fine, Mr.
Okay, I always like to cooperate with the administration. And Mr. Thompson, I always try to do whatever they tell me to do. So, Dale, if you say it's fine, it's fine. Okay, Dale, I guess we're gonna, public comments, we've had our public comments. Confirmation of appointments, we have none, right?
We have none, that's correct.
Okay, so, Dale, I believe we're gonna be in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Section 8, consent agenda legislation. There's nothing for introduction or adoption. Under Section 9, regular agenda legislation, Sub A, resolutions on second reading and final passage, or which will require only one reading. Number 88, authorizes the mayor to execute an amendment to the agreement with the Northwest Louisiana Youth Golf and Education Foundation, Incorporated, doing business as First Tee of Northwest Louisiana.
Any questions or discussion? If not, I see we got Shelley in the back, and Mr. Mayor, I really didn't realize that Shelley was such a great speaker until yesterday. Oliver, you should have, I'm telling you, Shelley, congratulations. A great
I was
speech.
sorry to miss yesterday.
Yeah.
Councilman Shine, I'm sorry I missed it also, but as I explained, my mother had a class reunion
Right.
celebration this weekend, but I really hate I missed that.
Right, and Mr. Mayor, I told her Joyce was looking for, and Rose kind of looked at me funny.
I wanted to say, oh, really?
Yeah.
Mr. Shine, for those folks who may be in the audience and watching us via Ustream, I think we want to clarify for them that we're talking about the dedication.
That's right.
That took place on yesterday at the
Right.
Bill Cockrell Park, where the multi-purpose room was dedicated in the memory of former Councilwoman Joyce
And don't leave
Dolan.
Mr. Hudson out.
And the garden, the community garden,
Right.
was dedicated to the memory of Coach J.D. Hudson. Two folks who have served that community greatly. The Park Advisory Council from Bill Cockrell did an outstanding job of putting that on. It involved comments that came from the city, the parish, various other officials throughout the area, and our very own Shelley Regal.
Right.
Who, as I am told, since I had to take my leave before she spoke, but who I am told spoke quite eloquently.
She did.
And to reference something I've often heard Councilwoman McCullough say, she may be walking away and trying to avoid her anointing. So,
well,
there may be another calling on her life. I'm told that maybe she has not.
Now, Shelley, you were
yielded.
good, but I'm not gonna go that far here. and Dale, you know, Mr. Hudson was a excellent basketball player like you.
Well, he probably was better than I was, Mr.
Oh, now you know how you. I'm trying to remember your old principal.
Mr. Russian.
Yeah, A-Rod Russian.
I'm open.
And you know, A-Rod Russian depended on you. Yeah.
Coach Hudson played at Grambling, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Under Fred Hobby.
There you go. There you go. And A-Rod Russian was a good friend of my dad's.
Yes.
And
And I remember how he used to curse a lot, didn't he?
I think it's the water down there.
Yeah. You think that's what it was?
I think that's what
I don't know.
And Mr. Chairman,
I think it was in him.
I can't wrap this up without referencing the eloquent comments that were offered by Councilman Sam Jenkins.
No,
as
that's
well.
right. That's right. Sam.
As he
we don't wanna
reminded
leave
us
you
of the one thing I miss now in coming into these chambers is that elevated under God. So
Right.
that's why, in the spirit of which, I had to offer that during
Right.
today's pledge. So,
And now you talking about might have missed his calling or might be going to his calling. Sam quoted from the Bible 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
from memory without notes.
There you go. There you go.
He Googled it before he got out. No.
Quite familiar with the book.
Okay. Dale, you see that, huh?
I see.
You get me in the mail going, and ain't no telling what we might come up with.
I see.
We're gonna have Sam, we're gonna have Sam preaching at a while. All right, go ahead on, Dale.
Resolution 89 authorizes the acceptance of $16,000 from the Community Foundation for the Paint Your Heart Out program.
Okay.
Number 90 authorizes the waiver of rental fees for Riverview Park Thursday through Sunday, May 29th through June 1st for the USA Wakeboard Nationals Tournament.
Any questions? If not, let's move on.
Number 92 authorizes the mayor to execute grant documents with the U.S. Department of Justice.
Any questions? Let's move on.
Number 93 declares the city's interest in certain adjudicated property as surplus.
Any questions? If not, let's move on.
Section B, or introduction of resolutions not to be adopted prior to June 10th, 2014. Number 94 authorizes the mayor to execute a donation agreement between the City of Shreveport and Providence Development, LLC, for the private water and sewer improvements for Providence Phase 2, Units A and B.
Any questions? Not, let's move on.
Number 95 ratifies the modification of the terms of the loan to Cornerstone Assistance Foundation Incorporated in
We're
regard
gonna
to...
move that one on tomorrow, and
That's correct.
and the city attorney will give us something brand new. Okay, let's move on.
Number 96 affirms the City of Shreveport's endorsement of Home Federal Bank to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement Program and to otherwise provide with respect thereto. There's a public hearing to be held on June 24th, and this matter is not to be adopted prior to June 24, 2014.
Any questions?
Just briefly, I'll say, I believe that this one and the next one, when these were filed, these are both things that the council has passed previously, but the department found upon contacting the state that there were some changes that needed to be made, and so these are corrections, not new projects. These are corrections to things we've already passed.
That is correct. Thank you, Councilman Everson.
Okay.
And number 97, Mr. Shine, did he also reference, affirms the City of Shreveport's endorsement of Petroleum Building LLC to participate in the benefits of the Louisiana Restoration Tax Abatement Program. This matter also is not to be adopted prior to June 24.
Mr. Silver, that's why it's good to always have somebody who's on Google all the time. Okay. Thank you. Let's move on.
Section C is an introduction of ordinances not to be adopted prior to June 10, 2014. Number 55, amends and reenacts Chapter 39 of the Code of Ordinances relative to human relations to establish a Human Relations Commission to provide relative to its offices and powers, to provide relative to administrative matters, and to otherwise provide with respect thereto.
We've had a lot of comments on that, so let's move on.
Ordinance 56 is zoning matter C-2214. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Shreveport by rezoning property located on the northwest corner of Shreveport-Barksdale Highway, Service Road, and Knight Street, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from B2 Neighborhood Business District to B3 Community Business District.
I think that shows in yours, but it's really in Oliver's.
That's what I was about to say.
It's currently.
I think Mr. Thompson probably made a clerical error.
If you click on the attachment, though, the description is at West Canal and 70th.
Really?
Mr. Shine, we'll look at this and
56.
Okay, because I didn't know whether you was trying to swap my district with Oliver's, and Oliver have too many problems over at his district, so I
You
don't
know how
wanna represent his area.
I feel about somebody getting involved in my district.
Oh, well, yeah, yeah.
We did that case at the last,
Yeah.
we approved it, I think, at Knight and.
Okay, the Knight Street and Barksdale Highway, we approved last week.
Yeah.
I mean, that one passed in terms of the write-up under that ordinance. we approved last week.
What,
The, the attachment is unrelated to that headline.
You mean 56?
Mhm. The Ninth Street, Barksdale, we already voted on that and passed that last week. You know that for a fact. But the link that's attached to is not the associated, so.
We'll check to see whether or not there's another ordinance that should go with the link and
please,
remove it and make the, recommend the corrections on Tuesday.
because I know how Oliver is about somebody trying to get into his district. He just said it. All right. Mr. Sibley?
Number 57 is zoning matter C-3014. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Shreveport zoning ordinance by rezoning property located on the northeast side of North Market, 1,200 feet north of Tanglewood Drive, and being also 190 feet northeast of North Market, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from B2 Neighborhood Business District to B2E Neighborhood Business Extended Use District, limited to an indoor dog training, grooming, and overnight boarding facility only.
Ms. McCullough? Any questions?
Actually, Mr. Shine, I'm reviewing the file now. I think the one question that I'm concerned about, similar to Mr. Vance's request for special zoning last city council meeting, and that is, I'm seeing here public assessment, there was no opposition, so I'm good. Okay. I'm fine.
All right, Dale?
Number 58 is zoning matter C-3114. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Shreveport zoning ordinance by rezoning property located on the south side of Olive Street, bounded by Southern Avenue and Buckner Street, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from B2 Neighborhood Business District to RAE Residence Agriculture Extended Use District, limited to a nonprofit community garden and outreach facility only.
That should be great. All right.
And the neighborhood agrees. That is,
Okay,
that is
should be
something
great.
that's got a good amount of support, so.
I can go there and get me some fresh greens and onions.
Yeah, that is, and it is unusual in the sense
And
that.
Mayor, you might be able to go by there and get you a bushel of peas. Or black-eyed peas.
It is unusual in the sense that a lot of times property within the city, it's not traditional that we see things going backwards in zoning. We usually see things getting more heavily zoned, whereas this is a little bit different. But for these specific purposes, and in the location and nature of this property makes it very appropriate, and the neighborhood is very supportive of this happening. So.
Dale, since I don't have about 10 more minutes on the council, and I'll need something to do next year. I was looking at a little spot out there that I think the city owns. We might have to turn it into a garden right there, off from the airport. You know what that little place in there? That'll give me something to do.
Dust off your green thumb.
There you go.
As long as you don't bring in any horses.
Wait a minute, Oliver.
That's a problem we got.
Yeah.
Proceed, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
Number 59 is zoning matter C-3214. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 of the Code of Ordinances, the City of Shreveport zoning ordinance by rezoning property located on the northwest corner of Uri Drive and East Washington Street, 176 feet north of East Washington, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from B2E Neighborhood Business Extended Use District to B3 Community Business District.
Yeah?
I have not heard any opposition to it and have only heard support for it, so I'm comfortable with it. Where it's located and cited, it seems appropriate for that.
Okay, 60.
Number 60 is zoning matter C-3314. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 106 by rezoning property located on the southeast side of East 70th Street, 2,300 feet east of Dixie Gardens Road, Shreveport, Caddo Parish, Louisiana, from B2 Neighborhood Business District to B3 Community Business District.
Right.
I'm okay.
Right. Dale?
Section D is ordinances on second reading and final passage. Number 36 amends and reenacts Article 4 of Chapter 30 of the Code of Ordinances relative to fireworks. This matter has 2 amendments and was previously postponed.
Yes?
Comment. There's a little discussion out there that this proposal is limiting the hours of which one's allowed to fire off fireworks on July 4th. I have gone through the ordinance.
Yeah, I just looked at it.
Julie has now looked at it. There is no change proposed in any of the amendments to change the actual hours on July 4th. So either there was some public misconception of what those hours were on July 4th, but to my read, the only day of the year where somebody can expend fireworks after 10 p.m. is on December 31st. That is the way without any amendments or that's what's on the books today. So if people are bringing that to your attention, saying that we're restricting that, that is not the intent. That's why the ordinance is already written.
Okay, Dale?
Number 46, levies a tax of 8 64/100 meals per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the bounds of the Downtown Development District of the City of Shreveport, as defined by Act 554 of 1078, as amended for the year 2014, for the purposes as set forth herein.
Okay, let's move on.
Number 47, levies various taxes totaling 17 65/100 meals per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the City of Shreveport for the year 2014, in the amounts and for the purposes described herein.
Questions? If not, let's move on.
Number 48, levies a tax of 22 5/100 meals per dollar on all property subject to ad valorem taxation within the City of Shreveport for the year 2014 for the purpose of paying principal and interest on the outstanding general obligation bonds of the City of Shreveport.
Questions? If not, let's move on.
Number 49, amends the 2014 general fund budget. This is regarding the First Tee program.
Any questions? Not, let's move on.
Number 50 amends the 2014 Community Development Special Revenue Fund budget. This is a reconciliation of federal dollars.
Any questions? If not, let's move on.
Number 51 closes and abandons a 50-foot wide portion of Independence Avenue running between South Fairway Drive and Cloverdale in the Country Club Heights subdivision, Unit 5, located in Section 8, Township 17, Range 14 West, Kettle Parish, Louisiana.
I believe
That's
that's,
Sam.
I believe it's Councilwoman McCulloch, actually, because that's to the west of Curtis Lane. I think that's District 8.
That's not District G?
Yeah, so you may want to look at it. This is to the west of Curtis Lane. That side is you.
Okay,
If you haven't looked at it, we'll come back and
all
let
right, I haven't looked at it.
you. Okay, Dale?
Number 52 authorizes the mayor to execute a contract with Dr. David Clemens to grant access and permission to plant and maintain live oak trees on the east right-of-way of Crestwell Avenue. I understand from our Public Works Director, Mr. Harris, that we need to ask for postponement on this matter. And Mr. Corbin, he indicated he'd communicate with you about that.
Okay, tomorrow. Michael, make the motion to postpone.
Number 53 amends the 2014 capital improvements budget. It has one amendment.
Okay, Jeff?
I'm going to ask to postpone this to the next meeting. There's a couple of questions that we still have, a little bit of legal review that we need to get answered to where we can move with confidence about it. So if everybody's comfortable with doing that, I'd like to postpone it about 2 weeks so we can make sure we have answers on that.
Okay, Dale?
Number 54 authorizes an amendment to the agreement and lease with MB Industries LLC. This matter is not to be adopted prior to June 10th, 2014.
Any questions?
I'm assuming ultimately we'll see what those amendments are.
Correct. One of the things we're waiting on there, members of the council, is to clarify the exact status of the companies that right now are having negotiations about the site. The lease agreement would depend on the final arrangement in terms of who is the lead and who is the sublessor. So we're still waiting on clarification, working with the state and the parties on that. And that concludes all the scheduled legislation, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Chief, you might have dressed up back there. Are we going anywhere?
We're not, we're just dapping.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, better call it like you see it. If that's where you headed out the door in the morning, you better be living it still at 3 o'clock in the
There you go,
afternoon, I
Chief.
guess.
All right.
Bragging if it's fact.
That's right. I mean, if that's where it is, that's where it
Yeah,
is.
we're not gonna argue with that, man. All right. Okay,
Mr. Shine,
yes, sir?
council members, you ever had any doubt? That's called swag.
Yeah. All right. Now, I remember when he used to wear blue jeans and he had a swag.
Well, now, that's just it.
Yeah, when he, oh, that Hollywood.
It's the attitude.
Yeah.
It's not what you wear.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I might have had a chance to holler at him a time or two. Oh, yeah, I know his whole family.
Councilman Shine.
Yes, ma'am.
If you would allow me to, I see our Caddo Parish Commissioner from District 2 is out in the audience. Commissioner Lyndon Johnson.
Where's London?
Illustrious.
Hey, London, you hiding over there behind the pole.
Yeah,
LP.
Yeah,
good to have you, Commissioner.
yeah. Yeah, hiding over there behind the pole. London, you don't have to, unless you're up here, when you come in here, if you're not sitting up here, you don't have to hide back there.
I mean, if you want to be recognized, you
down.
got to be recognized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing
Okay.
a great job for District 2.
Art?
Mr. Shine, I think we're
Anything?
on property standards appeals.
Table legislation.
I mean, yeah, table, anything, you got
I didn't
anything want to
have
come
the
off the?
opportunity to talk with the clerk, but ordinance number 89 of 2011, we'll probably take that off the table.
Okay.
And I think it's been resolved with the recent amendments we made to the solid waste ordinance.
Okay,
Oh, so you're not taking it off the table,
yeah,
you're
we're
just
gonna do,
get rid of it, right?
On Tuesday,
yeah, on Tuesday.
I'll remind you.
Okay.
Right. Because Art, again, you almost had me saying tomorrow. And I forgot, I'm going fishing tomorrow.
Wow. For real?
Dale, if I catch anything now.
Let me know.
Right.
Bring
I
that
can clean them
slide.
and gut them, I can't catch them.
Okay.
Shine, if there are no other items to be removed from the agenda, from the tabled agenda, we are on property standards appeals and therefore.
Right. Okay. You ready?
I mean, that's why I read it, I just want to make sure that I was.
All right, our first case here is 2837 Logan Street. Since our last appearance here on the council, the owner has totally redone the roof structure, the rafters, rafter ends, new studs on the interior, and also started doing some insulation work. The owner has asked for another 120 days to continue to work on the structure.
All right, Sam.
I'm agreeable with that. That would be my motion. I
Second.
think they're making some great progress.
Okay, it's been moved by Sam Jenkins, second by Rose McCullough. Any questions or discussion? That would be for 20 days.
He said, did you say 20?
No.
120.
100?
Oh, 120.
Yes, sir.
Sam, I forgot, I don't hear well.
You was about to put them in a box there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was like,
yeah, I don't hear well when you,
Okay. Next case is 1447 Hollywood Avenue. The owner has completed putting the vents on the front of the structure, has totally finished the front of the structure. She has only a small care premise cleanup.
is she here?
Which one are we on?
We're on the next one,
1447.
1447 Hollywood Avenue.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong.
I'm looking at the wrong one, and I'm like, if all it's missing is a porch, I'm definitely.
It's more like
missing the
what you were
house.
saying.
Yeah. Is the owner here?
No, the owner is not here.
That looks good.
What is your recommendation?
Let her continue to work and give, let them return in another 45 days.
Okay, so move. Second, moved by the chair, second by Councilwoman McCullough. All in favor, vote yes, opposed is no. So ordered, so done.
Okay, I see where I jumped. The next one should have been 360 East 68th Street, which is a demolition. Okay.
All it needs is the porch. I'm like, porch!
Porch is gone.
All right. Well, the owner is here. He has taken the roofing structure off, and remove some of the front of the structure. He has been doing the demolition himself. He's asked for another 45 days to complete the demolition.
Let him come up.
Say
I'm
again?
happy to move on already.
You've talked to him?
Yes.
I think they're all kind of agreed to what we got going on here, so I'm happy to.
Wait a minute, you tell me Oliver got here early enough to talk?
All right.
Okay.
Kind of operation I'm running, Councilman Shine. I don't understand why.
I see
I don't
that.
need a big fanfare when I arrive. I get right down to business.
Hey.
So we're clear.
Sam, you hit it, huh?
Yes, I do.
You hit
So
it.
my motion is 45 days.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins and second by Councilman Sam Jenkins to give him 45 days. All in favor vote yes, opposed no. Okay, it's been done.
All right. 2806 West Maple Street is the next one.
Sounds familiar.
The owner is here. The seals have been replaced under the structure. The roof is strong, it's fine. He has asked for 60 days to complete the tearing off and replacing the exterior walls.
I'm agreeable with that. He appears to be very diligent in his efforts to get it done.
Okay.
So West Maple is in District G? West Maple?
Yeah, West Maple. West Maple.
I hope so.
All right, it's been moved by Sam Jenkins,
of
second by Oliver Jenkins.
Okay.
We have
I'll
some,
second.
now, we have some streets, part of the streets in my district, the same
Part
name,
is in
and
my
part of
district.
it, part of it in hers, so it
I
can get
got you.
confusing sometimes.
All right, well, I'm not confused. All right, all in favor vote yes, opposed is no. 6-0 vote, it's been done.
Did you get mine?
Okay,
You ain't going down on that.
I believe that's it, right?
That's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice weekend.
Good job.
Mr. Shine,
Yes, sir.
we now have an alcoholic beverage ordinance appeal. It's a revocation of an alcoholic beverage permit for On Cloud Wine at 6936 Buncombe Road.
I'm ready for it. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
If you could turn to tab 1 in your books. This procedure is a little bit different than what we usually have. Usually it's an alcohol denial. This one's actually a request for revocation, and that's where the chief of police is actually requesting city council take action to revoke an alcohol permit.
That's Ron Webb.
No, I believe it's Mr. Jenkins.
Mr. Jenkins.
Sam?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Shine, Mr. Webb is, he knows about this case. He had a medical procedure today and couldn't be here. But, even if it would have been in his district, he said we should proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Did he give any indication how he stood on this?
You're a fine fellow.
I included a letter that was sent to members of the council that was signed by Chief Shaw, also our mayor, and the city attorney's office that basically requested revocation. If you'd like, I can either read the letter or just give you a synopsis of what it's about.
Why don't you read it?
This is dated April 7, 2014.
Quite long.
Oh, it's quite long?
It is
I would
page
Oh,
and a half long.
no. Just tell us what it's all about.
Basically, what happens is the applicant and the applicant's spouse must meet all qualifications for a permit. At any time, if either one of them do not meet the qualifications any longer, they request a revocation. In this case, the applicant's spouse was actually convicted of 2 counts of possession with intent to distribute Schedule 1. I'd like to put this in the record. This is the official transcript from the clerk of court for the Caddo Parish, where a sentence was actually given.
Is that his lovely wife sitting there?
I believe so. You also have a copy of that. In there, I highlighted the main parts. It's on your actual 3rd page. If you look on there, he was actually convicted of that. When he was convicted of it, we found out about it, I found out about it. That actually negates him or disqualifies him, which also disqualifies the applicant from having an alcohol permit. And therefore, the chief of police requested revocation of the alcohol permit.
Why don't we, with Sam, that's in your district, Oliver?
It's in Sam, but let me just ask one thing. So this one wasn't necessarily up for it. It was a specific request by the chief to revoke, right?
Right, once we found out disposition on the case, we took immediate action right afterwards.
Okay, I got it. So,
Why don't we let,
Ms. Shine,
yes,
just to let the council know, the city attorney has designated Assistant City Attorney Christina Wembley to assist with this case also, and she's sitting there in the front row.
please then. You all come forward.
Good afternoon. To follow up with what Corporal Collins was saying, not only does the spouse disqualify due to the fact that he has pled guilty to a felony, but also there's a separate provision in the City Code Ordinance 10-8488. It also goes on to state that the felony conviction of a spouse shall not only be the cause of denial. The applicant, in this particular case, she did have state and local permits prior to the felony. However, they did not have a separate community property regime. And when I went to pull the deed, I believe I've tendered it to the clerk council, and I believe you guys should already have copies. The deed does state that both she and her husband own the property in question, so he would technically here be ineligible for the application, therefore barring her permit as well.
I want to at least is that the young lady right there? Would you like to make a word or two, or?
Your Honor.
Yes.
Mr. Constable Shine.
Yes.
My name is Ray Keithley. I'm an attorney here, and I'm here to represent On Cloud Wine LLC.
Okay.
The sole member of that LLC is Miss Debbie Keckler. And Miss Debbie Keckler, again, is the sole member of that LLC. And when her husband was convicted of one count, he pled guilty to possession with intent to distribute CDS Schedule 1. Now, the issue of the property is, I would refer back to the ordinance that is mentioned. A felony conviction of a spouse shall not be cause for denial of a permit if the applicant, which is On Cloud Wine LLC, and Debbie Keckler, as the sole member, had state and local permits prior to the felony conviction. And with the council's permission, I have a copy of the minutes which reflect there was, again, a guilty plea to one count of that crime, not two. It was count 2 of the indictment, not 2 counts, 1 count. I have a copy of the LLC paperwork that show Miss Debbie Keckler is the sole member in this LLC. And then I have a copy of all of the local permits that were given since 2009 and both sets of state permits that were granted to her since 2009.
Okay.
If I could present that, I have a copy if everybody wants to see that, but I would tender that to the clerk at this time.
Yes.
no, he's disputing whether. Hey, now, let me ask one thing. I got the LLC, she's the sole owner of the LLC is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Now, the property, is the LLC own the business or the property, or is it the tenant of the, I mean, we got two different things going there, I have a feeling.
You're exactly correct, sir.
Okay.
There is a 6-acre tract
Okay.
that is off Buncombe Road. The winery is 6936. That's a less than 1/2 acre tract on the front, Buncombe Road, at 6936 Buncombe Road. The Kecklers own the rest of that 6-acre tract around that.
But the LLC is only owns, or is the sole owner, it's not a lessor of that tract from the family, right?
The owner of the tract of the, again, that the winery is on, is owned by the LLC, not the Kecklers as husband and wife.
So, yeah, and all I was asking is they're not leasing that, the LLC isn't leasing it from the Kecklers, the LLC owns that,
No,
right?
that's correct. That is correct. There was an issue about that, but there's a site plan that draws out, again, I think it's a .44 acre, just the winery, just the tract. The legal difficulties took place on the rest of that 6-acre tract, sir.
Okay.
And again, going back to, we're not disputing that Mr. Keckler did plead guilty to that one count. He was given 2 years probation. That's not an issue. It's not 2 counts. But the issue is, should the spouse's disqualification, or should his spouse's disqualification, Ms. Keckler's disqualification, be based on the business that has been run by her? He's not an employee. He's not a member of the LLC. They are simply married. And we'd ask you to consider this appeal and not revoke the license. This is a tourist attraction to the city, and it has been since 2009. And based on that, we would ask you to reconsider not grant the request by the chief of police.
Shane,
Yes, sir.
question. Do any of these documents show that the LLC owns that particular piece of property?
I'm looking for that. I haven't found it.
I'm looking at the assessor's.
Site plan that I have,
I guess we can do it by address, right?
site plan that I have does not indicate an ownership. It was simply something the city actually did in drawing out where this winery could be built and established.
I think that may be their MPC site plan and not true ownership of the property.
And I'll defer to the councilman on that. I do not know.
Okay, Mr. Thompson. What is the municipal address of?
6930 is the Keckler's residence.
Okay.
6936 is the winery.
6936 Buncombe?
That's correct, both Buncombe Road, yes, sir.
Shane, I believe Ms. Wimley has done some research on this. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you, the question that I would like to know.
Yes, sir.
Kind of directing this to Ms. Wimley. I heard Attorney Keefer say something about state licensing was an issue before the...
Yes, there's a portion of the provision in the code of ordinances that states that if she had prior state and local licenses prior to the felony, it would not disqualify her due to the fact that her husband would not be qualified. But in this particular case, the ordinance is very clear, and it states that the property has to be separate. And in this particular case, even in pulling the tax assessment for 6936 Buncombe Road, where the winery is located, it still states that it's owned by Billy Keckler and also Debbie Keckler. And in the deed, I guess when you look at the legal description on the tax assessment and you pull the deed, it's the exact same legal description, and both of them own the property.
Community property.
Yes. They were never judicially separated or divorced per the ordinance, so therefore she would be disqualified as well.
Were they living together at the time that this drug enforcement action took place?
Yes. But again, Ms. Keckler was not arrested, charged, or anything. She cooperated fully, and everything that had to do with Mr. Keckler's legal difficulties took place in an area of that lot that she had no access to, no knowledge of.
I believe there's a community property interest here.
Right.
No matter how you look at it, I believe there's a community property interest here. I think that disqualifies. If there was a separateness of property or something like that on record prior to this, and that's what those things are there to protect you, or that would be different. But it sounds to me, one, it's a community property interest, and two, they were actually living together at the time that the drug enforcement took place. And it's a pretty serious situation there from what I'm seeing. I know he only got convicted of one thing, but he's got a whole lot going on here.
Councilman Jenkins, I understand what you're saying, and yes, there certainly could be a community interest, but what we're saying, if you enforce that ordinance as specifically written, you'd be encouraging a divorce, for one. And number two, we could easily rectify any property description problem that we would have, because when that site plan was issued to Ms. Keckler, she thought LLC winery, that was hers and hers alone, sole member.
I mean, I might just tell you, she's not paying a separate tax bill on it.
Right.
I mean, that's what I read.
And again, her understanding was that it was separate. That's all I can say.
Let me say this. Sam, I have to disagree with him when he said that you might be encouraging a divorce. He encouraged that when he got himself in a jam. So I don't, I wouldn't want Sam leaving here feeling like that he might be encouraging somebody to get a divorce. He make a mistake.
Yeah.
We acknowledge the mistake. It's not we acknowledge the mistake, Your Honor. It's not Ms. Keckler's mistake, and it's not the LLC's mistake.
It still doesn't matter. It was his mistake. And if you don't want, my position is, if you don't want to put your spouse in that kind of situation, don't you do what you need to do in order to do something illegal. So Sam, I don't want you leaving here feeling like you might be encouraging a divorce.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to make a motion to uphold the department's decision on this matter. I just think it's a community property issue. We don't have anything here. And I take no pleasure in it at all, but we don't have anything here to indicate some separateness of property or something along those lines. And it appears they're living together. And I know that this is, I know this may be a tough business situation.
Right.
Second.
There's quite a bit here to indicate why we would have to enforce the ordinance in this case. I really take no pleasure in it, but.
It's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins.
I believe that the police department just recommended this. They didn't take any action. So your motion may be to revoke the permit as recommended by the police department.
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilman Sam Jenkins in order to revoke. It's been seconded by Councilwoman McCullough. All in favor vote yes, opposed is no. The motion is approved with a 6-0 vote.
You do have appeal rights beyond the council.
Ms. Wembley, you did a good job. We're proud of you.
Ms. Wembley, don't go anywhere.
Did you tell her don't go anywhere?
Ms. Wembley.
Yeah.
Ms. Wembley.
Christina.
On the agenda, we also have the revocation.
I'm sorry, Ms. Wembley.
We also have the appeal.
I don't know you as well as Dale does, so that's why I call you Ms. Wembley,
Oh, no,
because he called you Christina.
No problem.
Okay then.
We also have the appeal by Mr. Daniel R. Healer for his client, Matthew Byford, concerning the dog case, and I believe that Ms. Wembley has talked to Mr. Keel, and she has a recommendation.
Yes. Attorney Keel and I have spoke regarding the particular issue. He has proposed, I want to put everything in the proposal on the record right now because we're still working out the logistics of it, but essentially the proposal would be to downgrade the vicious determination to dangerous. I mean, the vicious determination down to dangerous. And we have a little bit, going back and forth with exactly how the language is going to be worked out. So we have asked to continue it into the next council meeting.
Thank you. Now, whatever you all work out, make sure that you protect the neighborhood, please.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right.
So moved.
We postpone until the next meeting?
Okay. It's been moved by Councilman Oliver Jenkins, second by his brother, his younger brother, older brother, one, Sam Jenkins.
Twin brother.
A twin brother. Wow.
That's it.
Damn. Yeah, I thought you and I were good. Oh, yes, right. Okay.
We didn't say identical twin, we just said twin. I don't know what
We got a 6-0 vote to postpone. Okay.
Ms. Shine, I believe those are all of the appeals that we have for today. We're now to reports from officers, boards, and committees.
Mr. Thompson, I want to thank you so much. Okay. Would you all like for me to start with Mr. Thompson, or would you all want him to wait until Tuesday?
I have a report today, Mr.
Oh, okay.
Take it wise there.
I mean, it may be our last one of the year, so we better get...
Yeah, we better get in now. Okay.
we have an appeal letter on the SC 1314 east side of Railsback Ridge Drive concerning the property owned by Mr.
Larkin.
Larkin.
I'm gonna guess that's one we're talking
It's
about.
a-
Just throwing that out
it's
there.
It was a subdivision plat denial. So it will be, I sent out the letter and it will be set on the 10th.
Okay. And seemed like that was a good article in the paper this morning about that, about impacting.
Seemed to be pretty thorough, Mr. Chairman.
It was. And it was written extremely well.
Mr. Thompson, I noticed this says near Council District D.
It is in Council District D. That was one of the questions, whether or not it was within the city limits, and we did some research on that. and
Just doing some wishful
confirmed
thinking.
that it is.
There you go. All right, Mr. Thompson, that was an excellent report. And I hope all of us will go along with that.
I support his work this week.
Okay, then.
Last week, you couldn't find him, but that's when he was on vacation or something like that. Councilman Shine, your job as chairman is to keep a thumb over Art. He runs around, takes vacation all the time.
Well, he does. He does.
You're just too soft, I think is what it is.
He says he has a friend that's the chairman.
That's what he
Wait a
said.
minute. Wait a
No,
minute.
my
Art, you
psychiatrist
see that? Art, you see that,
Implications
huh?
in that statement.
Lord have
Sure, it has
mercy.
nothing to do with the people you work with.
Oh, no.
Okay, Mr. Thompson, where any more observations or questions?
Mr. Chairman, is there a representative for Public Works here today? Or do I just need to see the CAO?
Mr. Harris will be here Tuesday. He's
I'll
out
just see
today.
you, I'll get with you.
Yes, sir. I'll take it.
Okay, now Sam, you gotta cancel, stop the meeting.
I'm good, Fred. How you doing?
Mr. Sibley, could I request, and I know it's kind of late notice, if Stan's available, just to give us an update of where we are with mowing and what the contract mowers are doing versus our crews, because I am beginning to receive a lot of phone calls. I know we've had a lot of rain, the grass is growing like crazy, but I'm having a lot of phone calls about right-of-way mowing.
We can certainly do that. As a matter of fact, those contracts have been executed. I've actually seen some of the crews out.
I have too.
They are doing, they're trying to adhere to the mayor's standard of doing all the edging and everything, so.
I saw
But
them
we'll
out.
get them to do an update.
They were
on
actually
Tuesday.
out on Highway 1 or Erie Drive Saturday and Sunday, working vigorously.
They're quite busy in District A as well.
I've noticed
And they seem to have
some
big
doing-
crews, so.
Some doing a much better job than in the past, and some still need a little work.
And Mr. Chairman and council members, you may also notice that it's Shreveport crews that are on the interstate now. So the mowing you see on the grassy area is us. We've still got to figure out a protocol to deal with the median, because I don't like grass growing out of the interstate. So we're going to address that as well, but that ends up entailing a need for some assistance from SPD and some others to make sure we end up with effective traffic control. But we're working to bring it all together.
All right, it's Miss Linda Daniels. Did I get it right? Is Miss Linda Daniels in the building? Miss Daniels, please come forward. Tell us your name, address, and what you would like to speak on.
Okay, my name is Linda Daniels. I presently live at 9030 Pratt Road, but I have property at 1705 Kelsey. Now, I talked with Mr. Alonzo Hodge. Matter of fact, I have talked to him at several occasions from February to March about this particular situation. I pay my taxes of $410.56. It was paid before. He told me if I paid the taxes before May 1st, it would not go up for sheriff sale. Now, I just found out today that it went up for sheriff sale. I called Mr. Hodge, and he said that it has been placed up for sheriff sale, and it should never have been placed with the sheriff sale. I have had this property since 2001. And I never miss paying taxes.
Mr. Sibley,
Yes, sir.
is there any way you could check in on that and,
Yes, sir. Assuming we're talking city taxes, that would be our compliance office.
yeah,
And
right.
Charles is in the back. Charles,
Charles,
you want to get with James or is it something you can share now?
So your property is at 1705 Kelsey?
It's 1705
That's-
Kelsey.
that's out in the Cooper Road area. That's
Oh,
a
yes,
good piece of
definitely.
property.
Definitely.
Yes, it is, and I've been keeping the property up. People the residents that live in the community,
What'd you say?
they've been placing their
good property, but a bad
horses
road
on the
in front of
land.
it.
I've been paying people to go up there and clean the feces up. I've been having a lot of problems with this property. People going onto the property without my consent. And I
Could
think I
you-
spoke with you this morning.
No, Mr. Bowie.
Okay.
Could you check in on that and let's see if we could correct that for Miss Daniels? She said she has paid her. Miss Daniels, didn't you say you had paid your
Sir, I
taxes?
paid it. Now, Mr. Hodge mentioned that it was an additional fee added. Now, why wasn't I notified? Y'all been notifying me, prior to this. Why wasn't I notified that I owed an additional amount of money? Now, he said I had up to 3 years for redemption. I don't want to wait that long. I done paid my debt,
Right.
and it needs to be resolved.
He's gonna check in
Okay.
on it, and if you owe, couldn't be no more than $15 or $20 more. If you owe $15 or $20 more, write him a check for it. If not, they'll almost say me and you might be able to put that much together, but he'll check in on it and he'll take care of it. And if you owe $15 or $20 more, you can straighten it up right now. You don't have to wait 3 years. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Charles.
I just, because it is more than $15.
How much is it?
It's $154.
Well, she got that kind of money. She'll
Oh,
pay.
no, I don't.
Charles, speak to Mr. Chairman, the issue may be the timing, if it's already going up for sheriff's sale. And Charles, could you speak to that?
Yeah, that's what I want to charge, and make sure you keep it
There
from
was
being sold.
a grass cutting violation on the property, which is why, when she paid her taxes, that went towards the violation, not towards the taxes. And the notice she received told her she needed to come in before March 30th and pay this amount. She did not come in until the beginning of May, so the advertising fees and such for the tax sale were added to the bill, which is why what she paid did not pay the amount off.
Can I come in on that?
You sure can.
Excuse me.
Okay, I've been contacting LaWanda Williams, which is the property inspector. Each time that I would have someone to go up and mow the property, I would contact Ms. Williams. I also contacted Ms. Williams, May 16th, about the property. I told Ms. Williams, I've been calling and calling, and no one goes up there and inspect. Well, I don't know why they got a violation from the get-go, like I tried to explain to them. I have a designated person that goes up there and take care of the property. And I would like for the city not to do it because I already have somebody that does.
Let me say this,
I need some
Rose.
clarification on the date you said.
Wait, just before you say that, I'm gonna ask you to get with, your city council person in that area, and I'm gonna ask that, let's stop the sale of it, and, until we can work out the pros and cons on this, and find out what we're gonna do. Rose, can
I
you
didn't
get
know we
with
could
her?
stop a sale, but
Huh?
anyway, I wanted clarification on the document that stated that it had to be paid. Because as I understood from her, she received a document that said she had to pay it by, before May 1st. And then I heard you mention that she received a document saying by March 31st. So can I get some clarification?
She signed. It was a certified document that she signed for.
Have she seen that document?
No, I have not.
Mr. Chairman, it sounds like there are a couple of issues. One involves the lien from property
Right,
standards.
that's what I'm
and Mr. Green said he's familiar with that. It also sounds like even though she made the effort to pay her taxes, there were some other fees that didn't get paid, one of the questions would be, once it goes to sheriff's sale, whether or not we can actually impact that in terms of a tax sale. Let us take a few minutes, because clearly what Charles is sharing is something wasn't paid, which led to the sale. We need to see what exactly that was. Can we do anything about that? Or is she simply in a situation where she has to go and redeem the property? You don't have to wait 3 years. You can redeem it anytime within that 3 years, but we need to just sort it out and get some of the facts
Well, would you
straight.
check and see if
certainly
the
will.
property has not been sold?
Exactly.
You know, I believe.
If it hasn't been, we
Sheriff
may
Prater
be able to do something
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, Sheriff Prater would be able to stop that. I mean, you know, it ain't like a life or death situation.
But I don't understand, how can I lose my property like that? I done paid, I paid it up. I paid it in full, what they asked for. Now, he just mentioned that I received a certified letter on April the 31st.
March the 31st.
I mean, March the 31st, which it was paid April the 29th. But Mr. Hodge told me by May 1st, it would go up for sheriff's sale. See, I met the deadline. The deadline's supposed to be May 1st. That's what I don't understand why I have to go through all of this.
Yes.
We will spend some time clarifying, but for the record, want to be clear. It's not just the issue of the taxes.
Right.
You have the issue of the taxes, plus you have the issue of
Are you listening? Because that's what
I'm trying to understand. I don't really have an issue with when I'm paying people to go up and moor the property. I don't live on that property, which I plan on moving on the property in July.
I understand what you're saying, but the mayor's getting ready to explain to you.
We have the issue of the property maintenance lien for the grass cutting. Now, however it is that ended up being assessed, that's a question to be worked out. But it ended up being on the property as well. And then, once it went past the date that was indicated, where all of those charges had to be cleared up, you also end up with the charges that the sheriff assesses for all of the administrative expense, the advertising and what have you, that's assessed to all those properties for the sale itself. And so the taxes, the lien for the grass cutting, and the administrative cost of the sale. So if you just paid the portion that was the taxes, then what was still left unpaid and unaddressed was the grass cutting lien as well as the administrative fees for the sheriff's sale. And that's what resulted in it still being listed as a property to be sold under the sheriff's sale, which means that I'm assuming, since that was on the 8th of May, that it has in fact passed. Somebody probably has bought it. So now what needs to happen is that, as Charles just said, the additional $154 needs to be paid. That is inclusive of both the grass cutting levy as well as the administrative fees, or is that just one?
Well, I think she would have to redeem it now, Mayor.
There's a redemption cost, so it's a little bit.
But we can explain that to you, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I just paid a redemption yesterday myself, and so there were some additional, I mean,
But
charges.
the
but it
full
wasn't the
debt
same.
was $410. That's what I'm saying. All of this extra fees, this is something just come about today. But the full debt was 400, and I would just give it whoever, but that was the full debt.
Don't go, Ms. McDaniel. We are a very compassionate group of people,
But I've been having a lot of problems, here with the city, with that property, since I had it.
we want to
I
help you
purchased
with
that.
it. We want to help you
Yeah,
with
but
it.
they are charging me additional, just charging me for grass cutting when I'm paying people to go up there to do it. And this is how I'm getting into this dilemma,
Well, what I'm saying to you is, why don't you get with your council person and with Mr. Green back there, and we might be able to cut you some slack in some of this, but it's hard for us to do it if somebody just gonna walk away. That's why we communicate. And we are a compassionate group of people. We don't want to charge you something and you're not able to do it, or that was a mistake made and it was a misunderstanding made. We want to work with you. We got a compassionate administration, and I know you got a compassionate council here. The mayor was just explaining to you how you got into this situation. Now, we are in a position to help you, although you're in this situation. You know, we're not gonna just turn our back on you, and Miss McCullough is a very Christian woman. Should I, you know, and Rose, I don't guess I said nothing wrong, huh?
Oh, that was the truth. God loves the truth.
Right. So she's a very Christian lady, so she'll be willing to work with you, and the council will be willing to work with you. I don't want to see you lose your property. I don't want to see you walk away from your property. But the administration was just explaining to you how you got into that situation. Now, you into the situation, let's work with you and see if we can't get you out of that situation. Is that fair enough?
I think that's fair enough.
And Mr. Chairman, can I add something from a personal note?
Yes.
I want you to understand, we would love to help work this situation out. We don't want to cut any more grass in the city of Shreveport than we have to.
Right.
So know that we're not looking to come up and cut your grass. Put us in a position to make sure that we're communicating effectively so we don't end up doing that, which does not need to be done. We can work it out with Mr. Green and Ms. Farnell. And then also, on a very personal note, 1705 Kelsey is around the street from my mama's house. And I want her to have all the good neighbors that she can have.
There you go.
And so if you're talking about moving to the Cooper Road,
My car.
we
you know
ready
you're
to
gonna
have
get a
it.
good neighbor.
You're gonna have
Right.
we want good neighbors.
And Mr. Green, would you give her your card too? Because Mr. Green is a Christian man. He's willing to work. He's willing to work with you. He has to go to church on Sunday. And Dale, I'm a preacher's son, so you know what that means.
And see that,
Did you hear Rose? Mm-hmm.
you become another resident of a neighborhood that needs people. That means more opportunity for business to come, more places that people need to be able to support folks who live there. So we welcome, appreciate you coming down.
Okay,
We want to work with you, Miss Daniels.
okay. Well,
Now,
thank you.
don't give this up.
All right, thank you.
All right. God bless you. All right. Ron, I believe we at you and Oliver. That's okay.
We're compassionate.
Thank you. You are.
Just heard that.
We just heard that. Thank you so much for letting me speak again. Thank you so much, Mayor Glover. Thank you, Council. I'm going to make it short and sweet for you. First question, did y'all get an email with some information? Okay,
Yeah.
for a little, I'm sorry.
We did, and I mentioned this earlier when the ordinance came up. So you sent us an email that I think suggests that the hours for the 4th of July are not late enough. Okay. The reality is these proposed ordinance changes are not changing the hours for the 4th of July. They are not. That's the way our code is written right now. Two of us at least have reviewed this. You are limited till 10 p.m. on the 4th of July to expend fireworks.
That's correct, and that's not late enough for our customers. That's
Okay, so you're proposing us to amend, unrelated to the issue that's out there, this is your, I'll call it plea or proposal to extend the hours to expend fireworks on the 4th of July.
Yeah, if you will look at the document, and I know you have.
No, I mean, I got the deal that it takes this long to get here, and if you're gonna do this, by the time you get home, you don't have time. I got all that.
Okay.
But I thought that you were suggesting to us that we were doing a change to the ordinance to prevent that, but that is not the case. You're advocating for something else.
That's correct.
Okay.
And as I look at the document in my mind, of course, the film's kind of blurred. As I look at the document in my mind, I can see where you could ask that question as far as selling also. Correct?
Yeah, but I mean, the selling part, I don't think that's what you were arguing
No,
about.
sir. I gave you those numbers in hopes of showing the council that in the evening time, it was really cutting the time short for them to be able to shoot. Okay? I think there's still some concessions that we could make, and I don't know how we can get there as quickly as maybe the council would like. I still think that we should consider giving extra time to shoot days-wise for 4th of July, even if it's 2 or 3. Thanks to Councilman Sam Jenkins and our memories as childhood for the Christmas time, he helped to extend the days for shooting at Christmas. So I think we need, in fairness to civic groups, churches, communities, block parties, that will occur sometimes, other than 4th of July, when the 4th of July falls in the middle of the week, we need some days on the weekend for them. I was coming up here to, make it quick and short. I was going to ask the council to please vote no as the ordinance is written. That's what I was going to say today, and I would see you again Tuesday. But I thank you for giving me the opportunity to clarify what I meant by the time frame that I gave you.
Okay.
And I think I derived those times from the Marine Air Force flying time as to when they were required to put on night vision goggles, which you can,
Night
twilight.
carrier landings and night takeoffs and NVG.
and so you were well aware of the civil dusk.
I know what those are.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Are you making any progress with the parish? I know I agreed to postpone it, to allow a little time to see if something can be worked out over there.
Thank you, Councilman Jenkins. As I told Councilman Joe Shine, that my size 10 shoes have not drugged my feet, and I have talked to 3. I have 4 more to visit, and I'm sorry that Lyndon B. Johnson left, because I talked to him yesterday concerning this issue right before they went into council yesterday, and he said in his view of the Caddo Parish, they would rather just stay with the state law. They didn't want to suppress business patriotism, but I wish he would have stayed, and then he could have gave you, not hearsay, but firsthand information. I talked to David Cox, who had back surgery. That's his same viewpoint, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't lead the conversation into that. I just told them I was doing what I was asked to do, to ask the commission, would they consider joining the city of Shreveport and maybe getting some dates to be the same. What do you think? And that's all I asked. And then they gave their statement as to, now they'd rather, support small businesses, jobs for the high school students or who are badly looking for jobs in the.
So they're not looking to change that?
They don't. Yes, sir. That's correct. Now that's just 3 on my part.
I understand.
And I understand possibly another councilman or 2 have talked to some of them too, and I don't know what they had gotten. May we ask?
Sure, I think the one call I spoke to, they said that they were not inclined to change under there's not a circumstance that they had envisioned that they would change. That's a polite way of what they told me.
That's correct, and that was the, and of course, I had another, which I thought was a very, very good, astute observation that one of the one of the commissioners, Michael Williams, said, well, you can take that as an opportunity. I said, how's that, Mr. Williams? He said, obviously the complaint is about noise, and you could probably make a ton of money off of earmuffs.
I mean, because somehow cold has an association with fireworks.
Noise, come on.
Okay, so those earmuffs, you get a little confused between.
Muffle some sounds. He said that in tongue-in-cheek, but I thought it was funny. So, any other questions that I might answer for you, please?
No, we appreciate it, Ron.
Thank you so much. I'll see you Tuesday.
All right. Anybody else have any comments, questions, observations? If not, meeting's adjourned.
Thank you so much.
For cold weather, right?
Awesome.
Earphones are for hearing things loud.
How was the potluck?
Saying that you can.
I can tell you how the system works.
That's all I'm